Alrighty, the late night with Smitty, second show of the week. I got Sam Adams, former NFLer, Super Bowl champ, coming on, and we just finished the Super Bowl, and we were just chatting prior to me pressing record. And as I always check, I hope I'm recording, which I am. That picture in the background there, Sam, that's a picture of Super Bowl 35 back in Tampa Bay. Must bring back some great memories.
It does bring back great memories. It was a big night. We dominated that night. They didn't score on the defense. I mean, it was a monumental moment in time for us.
Mhm. So what again, looking back at that year in particular, and then yeah, we'll kind of hopscotch around a bit. I just remember that team, they didn't score an offensive touchdown for five straight games. You guys were led by Brian Billick. I remember those scores from those playoff games. I'm like, you guys are never letting that off any offense score. I've always been fascinated by that 2000 Ravens team. It was just phenomenal. Uh, all these years later, how do you kind of view that?
It's kind of cool because every great defense that comes along, they try to compare to us, and what we did was legendary, and we had the ability to shut teams down, and it was funny because we never really talked about it. We talked about shutting teams out, and we like that kind of thing, but
Mhm.
it was, the little things. You can't let them run against us on third downs. We get out to the quarterback, apply pressure, do your job, be relentless, and it was a mindset. It was something that we kind of built into ourselves, and collectively, Ozzy went out and got guys who had that type of thought, who lived that lifestyle, who believed in that, and so it wasn't a stretch to be able to apply that to your game. And it was, something that we were already doing. So it was exciting to be a part of, to see guys hunt like I hunted, and to have the same type of mentality that I had.
Good, good. The game, the playoff game that kind of leads up to the Super Bowl is the game versus the Titans. You go into their barn, and again during NFL Films, Ray Lewis with the recovery for the touchdown, and he says he couldn't hear a sound, right? And yeah, it was again quite the performance for you guys to go in there and kind of, as you say, dominate. Is there a particular game in those four games that you say, "Hey, that's a game we hang our hats on"?
Not really, because every week was a different challenge. We had to be road dogs in order to get to the Super Bowl. Everybody talks about you got to win it on the road, and you got to win at home. Basically, you just got to win. The Super Bowl is never at your house,
Right.
right? I mean, it's never you're never playing a home game, so you got to be ready to travel and do those things. But the first game of the playoffs against the Denver Broncos, we were playing at home. It was good not to have to travel. I hated Denver. I had a former high school teammate that I was playing against, so I always played good against him, and it was kind of personal. And then we go to Tennessee, who, it was a fake bully. They tried to, always be, the top team. They had Aaron McNair, Steve McNair, they had Eddie George. They were the bullies, and we just went in and punched them in the mouth every time we played them. Our conference is the most physical conference in football.
Hmm.
Every team you look at, the Pittsburgh Steelers, us, I mean, the Tennessee Titans, it was a knockdown, drag out fight. And so for us to be able to go in there and play against them, it was fun because, we didn't like them. We have respect for them because they were like us. And so, it's like that, that meme or that YouTube video when that bear walks past himself in the woods, and he sees himself in the mirror and he goes crazy. Well, that's kind of like how we feel when we look at the Tennessee Titans. They had a physical defensive line. Offensive line was physical. They had a Hall of Famer in Matthews on the team, and they were, the running backs big and physical, and they had a lot of bravado. And so it gave me great joy going in there and busting those cats in the mouth. I mean, it's fun though because I respected them,
Yeah.
but it always meant something. It was always down to the bitter end. We don't do a lot of talking, but that week, Chris McAllister called Eddie George soft, and he was talking about his character, and he challenged him, and they came out swinging, and they punched us in the mouth that first series, and we got to the sidelines and looked at each other and basically said, "That's it. That's all they get." And we came out and commenced to kicking their butts. But it's that mindset where you have to essentially play at a level that your opponents are unwilling or unable to match. And they came out hot, hotter than we expected, but that was on us, and we just needed to be able to do a little bit better than what we did, and so it was on from there.
Yeah. Yeah, as you're describing the games, it was like, yeah, we're putting our foot down. They're not getting a thing, and that was again reminiscent in the AFC Championship game when you guys went into Oakland and beat them too to go to the Super Bowl. And um, again, it was yeah, it was quite over there in Tampa Bay. As far as that goes, it was quite the night there in Tampa, winning that Super Bowl and everything else. So you were drafted in 1994, eighth overall by the Seattle Seahawks. Um, Again, how was it like getting into the NFL, first impressions, college to the pros and that sort of thing?
Well, I mean, I thought I was blessed to be able to be here. My father played in NFL for 12 years. It's where I always wanted to be able to have the opportunity to play, not for the fame and fortune, but because I wanted to be like my father. And I felt like it was my destiny to play in the NFL. And so I did everything in my power to get there. Um, Seattle was, it was a great. I'm excited that they picked me. I met my wife here, built my family here, and I love the city and I love the area. And the funny thing is, we had a chance to build. I mean, I was there in some very lean years, and
Hmm.
we were bad when I got here, and I was a part of the turnaround, and we made the playoffs my last year, and then I went off to Baltimore, won the Super Bowl, and the rest is history. Seattle's, got really good after I left, and it worked out for everybody. I will say this though, if I was still playing for them in that first Super Bowl, they wouldn't have lost that one because they could not stop the run to save their life.
Wait, which Super Bowl was that again? Sorry.
So the Seattle has been, we started building great teams, and we first went the first time they went to the Super Bowl, they lost,
Yeah.
and then we came back and won, smacked Denver around, and then they lost, and I hate bringing up the losses, but man, that last one that they lost to the Patriots, that just was a gimme. I mean, you got Marshawn Lynch on the 1 yard line, 2 yard line. That's a gimme tutty. That's a gimme touchdown. And I know the coaches up, that will, they don't, no one feels worse than the coach. They'll never live that down, on the decision that they made. But man, I mean, Seattle really should have three Super Bowls, and they could have had four.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And again, with Seattle being in the Super Bowl just last week, they were replaying that there, the whole Malcolm Butler thing, and again, it's still doesn't make any sense. And Luke Wilson, who works for TSN up here in Canada, he says it's something you just never get over. He was analyzing the Grey Cup, and they said give it to your best player because Montreal gave it to their backup quarterback. He lands up fumbling the ball, which lands up costing them the game. And he goes, "Yeah, it's something you just never get over at all." So,
You never. Hey, listen, when we were in Oakland and we lost to Tampa Bay, we had a better team than them. I'll never get over that. And I'd rather not go, to be honest with you. I'd rather not play in the game. I
mhm.
mean, getting second, doing everything, all the pageantry and everything it took to get there, and then laying an egg, it's disheartening, man. I mean, it hurts me to this day.
And that,
I
that
don't want to.
that's fair. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
it's yeah, it's
Man, it's gut wrenching.
Well, that's what defines careers, right? That's what, again, different sport, but again, I go back to the Blue Jays game seven. Like, even as a fan, I've talked to three people that were at that game, and it's hard and it's hard to talk about. You're talking about something that happened back in 2003, right? Super
Man,
Bowl 37. So,
man. Well, it's the same thing with the Mariners. We lost to you all, and I know I know we played very well. We're young. I didn't think that we should have lost that game, and I don't follow a ton of baseball, but we support our local teams, and this was a big year. I thought this was their year. Obviously the Dodgers were mowing people over, but you all, got those bats swinging, and y'all swinging for the fences, and it just you all got hot. But I just couldn't believe we lost that series. I mean, we were so far ahead and then lost momentum, and then hey, when that momentum starts to swing and you can't slow it down, you have a big problem.
yep, there were so many ebbs and flows in that series. Like game three, I think the Mariners went up 2-0, and then the Jays came back and just blew them out. And then you thought they would go
Uh,
up 3-2 in the series, and then they come back.
I
Uh,
mean, it's big time. Then you have a 100-year-old pitcher, former Cy Young winner, decide that he's going to be Superman again, and we can't even get on base with that Joker. We can't hit. We couldn't hit off of him to save our lives.
you're talking about Scherzer?
Yeah, man, he was balling. He had that one game. He was just outstanding, lights out, and it was awesome to see as a former player. When you get a little bit older, it's way more difficult to have games like that. But God bless him with the opportunity to be able to come out there and shine, and he put together a heck of a game. And really, I thought that was a turning point of the series.
Yep. No doubt when Schneider went to go pull him, he basically told
He's like,
Schneider
nah.
to buzz off.
Nah, I'm feeling this. I'm riding this train, and it was a good decision by the manager allowing him to go keep going when he's feeling it. Don't babysit me. I've been
Mhm.
here before. I've won championships. I know how to win, and right now I'm in the zone. Do not sit me down while I'm hot.
Yep.
And managers and coaches in every sport make that fatal mistake on pulling their guy too soon, or taking somebody off the field who's hot, or taking a player off. It's funny, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan hit 20 points, you wouldn't dare look at him and say, "Hey, come take a break."
Right.
You're gonna go until he slows down. LeBron James. I mean, anybody. Steph Curry. Steph Curry has hit 4 3-pointers in the third quarter. You're not taking him out in the third quarter. We're gonna go. We're gonna ride that joker until the cows come home. So, I thought the manager, got a little beside himself. I was hoping that he made that mistake. Man, please take this dude out. He is going crazy out there on the mound.
Yeah, he would. I mean, he pulled Trey Scavenge early in the Yankee series. I mean, there were points, right? And yeah, it's one of those things. And I go back to when Joe Torre used to ride David Cohn to the cows came home because he
Till,
was
till the cows
trust
come home. I mean,
those
damn.
guys come
We're professionals. What are we training for in the off season?
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? What are we doing for this moment?
Yeah,
We get here and then you're gonna start being timid? Come on.
yeah.
Hey, we gotta let it ride.
Well, exactly. Drives me nuts. It absolutely like you got to play your best guys, right? So, that's definitely it. Coaches that you had during your career, you had Brian Billick, Marvin Lewis, Greg
Yep.
Williams, Mike Shanahan, Tom Flores, Eckerson, and Mike Holmgren. I hope I'm saying that right there, Dennis Eckerson.
Yeah, Dennis Erickson.
Erickson. Yes, I knew I was.
Yeah, yeah, from Idaho guy, Miami. Yeah, he's from the area.
Mhm. Any
Yeah,
any of these coaches that you had a special relationship with, or kind of life lessons and
man,
that?
I don't like none of those jokers you named. No, man, I had some. I mean, I learned. Listen, I had a coach that used to teach me how to throw the shot put, and he was okay at it.
Hmm.
He was really a track guy, but he was managing me, and I was his only thrower. And so he said, listen, you're going to come across a lot of coaches in your life, and some are going to be really good, and some are going to be bad. But you listen to all of them and give them all the respect because you may be able to pick something up off of them that you can add to your repertoire to help you in your game. And so if you can't learn something and pick something up from each coach, then something's wrong with you. And so, I'm thankful for God's journey for me with those coaches, and I was able to learn a lot from each one of them. Um, it's funny because I kind of play for coaches that came from two different trees, just two trees. I
Mhm.
came from my guys came from the Buddy Ryan tree,
Yeah.
or they came from the Bill Walsh tree, and they were all excellent. I find that the guys from the Bill Walsh tree, all thought that they knew everything. They were extremely bright. They were charismatic. They knew what they were doing, and they were all extremely organized, from Holmgren to Billick to Shanahan. Extremely organized, and they all were successful, and they all won Super Bowls. And then you have the Buddy Ryan group that punch you in the mouth. They all had success, physical, defensive coaches, defensive minded coaches, with Greg Williams, Rex Ryan, Marvin Lewis. Um, so I was blessed to be able to play with all of them, and so I got a good education, and I was able to pick up a lot of things from them. I'm able to share with young kids and young coaches now.
It's awesome. Any particular games during your career in the regular season that kind of stick out to you? Let's say, hey, I think of that game. Maybe it was a Monday night game, a Sunday night game, that sort of thing.
Every game was big, but I remember we playing against the Tennessee Titans on Monday night in Tennessee, and it came down to the last play of the game. It was funny, they drove down to the 2 yard line and they run up to the ball, and I'm jogging because you talk, if they get the ball down the field, they have to wait on you to be able to snap the ball, and I'm taking my time to get down there, and I cross the line, they snap the ball and try to go in and score a touchdown. Referee stopped the game, call them back. We all had to line it up back again. And I don't know what's wrong with this coach. This fool had the nerve to call a quarterback sneak right up the gully over me and Saragusa. And I got a great get off. I popped me. McNair leaned forward and tried to, punch it in. And I got great penetration. And my head hits the ball. He fumbles it. He picks it up and tries to run around the end, and boom, 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 click, clack. We stop him, and we all celebrate on Monday night. Last play of the game, it was awesome. That play I remember, and that was one of the funnest games I played in. It was nerve wracking, but it's always cool when it comes down to the end and you're able to help make a play.
Yeah, right on. Favorite stadium to play in besides your home stadium?
Tennessee Titans. I love playing in Tennessee because we own Tennessee in Tennessee. I love that, and I love playing in Pittsburgh too. I can't stand the Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh, again, we're looking at each other in the face. It was always cool to play in Pittsburgh. It was always cool to play in Tennessee when you're on the opposing team. Oakland was fun. I've never been to Oakland and they didn't have a bonfire or something, burning their car or something in the parking lot on the way up to the game, throwing batteries at you. New York is kind of brutal a little bit, but they're kind of fake because the teams really weren't that good. Cleveland, it doesn't matter if they're good or not, they are always on it.
Yeah.
Cleveland and Oakland are the worst places to play. And then it's funny you said not your home game, but home team, but Buffalo was awesome to play in. I was in Buffalo, and then I would come and play in Buffalo. I've never been in Buffalo where it wasn't a fight, and that was included our home games. It's always somebody fighting in the stands. They're buck wild, and I mean it's a great atmosphere. But I tell you what, though, there's no place like the Kingdom. Period. There's no place like the Kingdom. I played in some domes. I played in Indianapolis. Those people are docile. They're quiet. They don't really,
Mhm.
they're bougie up in Indy. But you come to Seattle, we turn it up in here. we get loose, and it's bad. Hey, listen, they talk about all the decibels they hit now, and we're in an outdoor stadium. Imagine that crowd inside.
Yeah.
It was so loud in the Kingdom. I loved playing in the Kingdom.
When you said the Kingdom first, I thought you were referring to Arrowhead, but there is the Kingdom with Seattle as well.
Yeah,
They've been
we had
known
the
to make
Kingdom.
earthquakes.
Yeah, man, we had the Kingdom, but it's funny because I remember watching the Mariners one day and started having a bunch of stuff fall from the ceiling. Actually, the ceiling tiles in the Kingdom started falling during a Mariners game. Can you imagine if that was during the football games? That'd hit half the team. It was I was so thankful, and it was in the outfield, so King Griffey Jr. is out there running for his life
All
because
right.
the ceiling's falling, and um, that's when we knew it was time to shut the bad boy down.
Yeah, and the vivid shot of Bo Jackson running into the
Oh
hallway.
man, that's
Hall, no,
awful.
hall. It's a different term, but just he
And he
kept
and he
running.
ran over Bosworth to get there too.
Yeah.
That was yeah, that's a horrific play in Seahawk history.
It's interesting you say Pittsburgh because I think you're the third person to say Pittsburgh in the last like 2 weeks to me. And so,
I
uh,
mean, Pittsburgh's cool to play in. I got
yeah,
the terrible towels going, and it's nothing better than come and bust them in the mouth and make them stop waving those dang towels and making them quiet. There's nothing better than having a crowd going crazy at the beginning of the game and you shut them up by the second quarter.
yeah,
It's so quiet in there they can have communion, and
mhm,
we did that a lot to Pittsburgh.
yeah. Mentors, role models that have helped you in your NFL career and in life in general.
My father has always been my role model and mentor and my pastor growing up.
Hmm.
In the league, Rex Ryan was always there, and he was a guy that I felt offered me. Well, he and Tommy Brazier. Tommy Brazier was my first coach when I played here in Seattle. He was extremely difficult to play for, but I learned to respect him, and he taught me the most out of any coach I had. Rex Ryan was like a brother. He was supportive, and for a veteran player, there's no one better to play for than that. So,
So,
Rex and Tommy Brazier were the top guys. I mean, I respected all the guys that I played for, and I was thankful for the opportunity. But those were my favorite.
well, I mean, I see Rex Ryan on ESPN, and um,
He's way
I've been.
worse coaching, brother. He is way worse coaching.
But he just seems to have a very sincere heart, and again, when Nick Mangle passed away a few months ago there, and he could barely hold together. He seemed to have good connection with his players.
Yeah, yeah, he was like that. He's like that, and I mean, he's a good dude. His players love him, and he's funny because that bravado that he's showing is not fake.
Mhm.
It is not fake. I remember he and his brother were coaching with Houston, with his dad, I think, and them jokers were at a bar and got in a fight, cleared the bar out. Them jokers was fighting, and I mean, and Rex is just like that. He is not scared. He's not running back down, and he makes sure his players are like that. And
Good.
that's the kind of players he coached, and he loved to coach. And so,
Hmm.
it was cool. It was cool to play for a dude like that.
Any superstitions that you had as a player, that sort of thing, routines?
Yeah, yeah. My favorite thing that I used to do was before games, I used to come out with my socks down. I love doing that. I love doing that. And we were in Baltimore, all of us did really, because we were about to get hot and we're getting warmed up and lathered up. And they used to always find me for that. And I used to come home with the paycheck and show my wife, and she'd always be pissed off because there's that fine for, having your socks down. And I
Right.
was not going to change, especially when we were winning.
Well, you guys were what, 11-5 that year when you guys won the championship or something like
Mm,
that, 11-5 or 12-4.
12, 11, 5, 12, and 4, something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And again, you know, it was a unique team, and again, that's why I fell in love with the NFL. And I do love offense, but I think maybe there's a bit too much offense. But we saw on Sunday though that defense still wins championships. So
Maybe everyone's pissed off because they're running a bunch of scoring, but you know how hard it is to stop somebody in the NFL? It's extremely difficult. It's a lot of skill, but we're out there smacking those jokers around and flying around and pitching a fit. There's nothing better than to watch that. I mean, you gotta come on. Yeah, you want to see him throw the ball down the field, but guess what? I want to see him stop it. And listen, I forgot the kid's name, but I want to take my hat off to that DB for the New England Patriots. That Joker was playing his
hmm
butt off. And if it wasn't for
Gonzalez,
them, if it wasn't for him, we'd
yeah,
have hung about 40, 50 points on New England. That kid made a bunch of big plays,
yeah,
a bunch of plays. And I thought that New England had a great game. I mean, let's be honest, we didn't really just run the ball up and down the field on them. I mean, we had a great running day and we were physical and we were patient, stuck with it. But shoot, New England was playing some defense now. At the beginning, those jokers were shutting us down, and I thought they had a great game plan. They just, they couldn't hold up for 4 quarters. I mean, it's 60-minute game, and they couldn't hold up, and we started wearing them down and wearing them down and wearing them down. Then in that 4 quarter, we turned it loose. We turned those jokers every which way but loose and unleashed the Kraken on them.
yeah. It's that's a great great summary, great analysis of that game because New England did have some opportunities, but I'm like, if they're gonna win this game, they have to have a special teams touchdown, a defensive touchdown, INT for a pick. It just seemed whoever won the Rams Seattle game was going to win the Super Bowl. And I don't care. Like Denver could have been in the Super Bowl. I think the result would have been the same.
It'd have been a different ball game though with Denver if Denver had the quarterback. The kid's special. I had a chance. My son played for the University of Washington. We've had a chance to see him play up close
Hmm.
multiple times. He's a strong Christian kid. He's got a strong, resilient background. He was not going to lay down, and he's a playmaker. And so, if Denver had him, it would have been a different game. In a Super Bowl, I don't care what people say, the Super Bowl would have been way different. I'm not saying they would have beaten us. No, that's just giving us a chance to beat up on somebody else. But what I am saying is it would have been a different ball game.
So you've mentioned pastor faith. How did your faith kind of play a part in your career?
I mean, it was everything. You can't go on the field and not pray and feel comfortable that God's got you and you're in the right place at the right time. I mean, football's scary, man. It's everybody's, you can get hurt and it's over in any particular play. And so we utilize that platform to be able to share the faith and be able to do what we've done. And I thank God for the opportunity. I would have never been there without his grace and mercy and being able to play as long as I did. I mean, I played for 14 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time, man. And and I left it, but the even greater blessing was I never was really hurt that much. I never was really hurt that much. I had 2 surgeries. They were scopes. That was it. And so, it was something where I attributed to, the grace of God because, you got people breaking legs and, having terrible things happen. I had 2 little scopes and to be able to play that long. And I probably, if I really, really got down to it, I could probably play longer. But I just, my daughter was tired of traveling and I'm tired of hearing her cry every time we have to leave. And so, it was time to shut it down.
Yeah. Good, good. Yeah, because as you say, yeah, 14 years, the average NFL player, what, it's 3.5, something like that. I read those kind of statistics and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not a forever thing. 3, 4 years and it's over. So I was extremely blessed.
yeah. Where so what when you retired, what kind of kept Sam Adams busy?
We do. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff in businesses, but I love coaching. We love giving back to the local youth, and so. But the thing that really kept me busy were my kids. Um, shoot, my youngest just finished his college career, and he's going to try to, shoot his shot and make the league. So we just got done watching games. I mean, my daughter was playing overseas professionally, so we still were blessed to be able to watch that. My eldest played at Arizona State, so we've been blessed to be. He played at Arizona State, Utah State, and a couple other places. He started in JUCO, so we've been blessed to be, go along the journey with our kids and be able to watch them play. And I tell you what, I like playing way better than I like watching my kids because it's way more nerve-wracking. I mean, I'm nervous. Don't want your kids. It's nothing worse than watching your kid get hurt. That sucked. I mean, it was a joy to watch my babies, but I much rather, me being the one that's down there getting banged up than my kids. That was the only thing that I hated about, my kids is watching my babies get hurt. Man, that was awful.
Yeah, I'm chuckling a bit. I just finished a tournament with one of my kids on the weekend, and yeah, it was a hockey tournament and that sort of thing.
Oh man, so
I'll talk a bit
nerve-wracking,
vague,
wasn't
but
it?
yeah.
That's just nerve-wracking. Those tournaments, and it's funny because I'm the NFL guy, so I'm on the scout. Hey, I'm going to go down here and watch the next team we about to play. I'm gonna come back with some stuff for you, coach. And I mean, it was cool. Going traveling. Traveling is awesome with your kids. It's when they're doing sports. My daughter traveled everywhere. We were in Chicago and Vegas and DC, and we went all over with AAU basketball. And then my boys played a little basketball, football, obviously. And so, travel basketball was cool. That was fun, but it was nerve-wracking. Oh my goodness, it was so nerve-wracking.
Yeah, because yeah, there's nothing you can do about it, right? You're watching them as they're doing their thing, and I'm just starting out in that regard, but yeah, it's
You'll be coaching soon. You you
yeah.
you you'll be coaching. You end up having to coach soon enough, man, because you're gonna be sitting there and get pissed off at the coach, accidentally say the wrong thing, and he's gonna be like, "Well, you do it yourself," and well, I for surely will. And next thing you know, you started your own team.
It's yeah, that's yeah, I could yeah, I think that logic makes some sense.
Oh yeah.
Right on. What else do I got? Did you ever meet any broadcasters in your playing career, kind of in the pregame? Did you ever meet like a Jim Nantz, a John Madden, Pat Summerall,
Well, yeah, I did
Dick
all of that, but
Emery?
yeah, but you forgot my dad played for 12 years. So I was like, I'm second generation. Those cats always would come up to me and talk to me. I did, I was in the pregame meeting sometime and, afterwards and Phil Simms and all those guys for sure.
So what kind of stood out to you when you talked to them? Were they um yeah, what were kind of some of your first impressions of those guys? You watched them on
Some of them
TV.
are funny, man. I mean, like cats like Madden, you got guys that are looking to say the outlandish thing to, make a name for himself. I hate those kind, especially guys that play because when they play, if someone said something like that to them, they'd be pissed off. And then you got the guys that play that are cool, that are, hey, this is the deal. This is what you got to do. This is what's happening. This is what's going on around you, and they're positive about everything, unless it's something outlandish and you just young guys just doing something crazy. But you like those guys that have the insight. I'm gonna tell you, one of my favorites was Joe Theismann. He was opinionated, but Theismann was awesome. He went through a little bit, with the leg thing and Lawrence Taylor. But Theismann was awesome. Madden was awesome. Always had a hand on. The big games. I love watching Madden. And we had some great guys. Growing up though, I used to love Howard Cosell. I used to love Howard Cosell. He was awesome. Entertaining. He always had something cool to say. Berman, rumbling, bumbling stomach. I love him.
Yeah.
Guys like that, man. We've had some, during my time, we have some great, TV personalities that made the game even more fun to watch, even more entertaining.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely evolved to that point, right? And again, we're so saturated with, we turn on NFL Network and how that, in the last 20 years, thanks to Pat Bowlen. initiating NFL Network. It's this 365 thing.
And
Uh,
you love, I mean, you gotta love it. I mean,
yeah,
shoot, who doesn't want to check out the NFL? Listen what they're saying. Oh my goodness, what was that show? It's not there. No, it's an NFL. It used to come on once a week. It was awesome. They would do a weekly tune-up for the NFL. You know, they would go through all the games. Who was a linebacker? Jackson. It was a linebacker from Denver that was on that show. Was
was
it
it
Chris
in,
Jackson?
was it inside the NFL?
Inside the NFL? I think yes, inside the NFL. Inside the NFL used to be awesome. I mean, they had Berman on there, they had Jackson on there, they had a great cast, and they were entertaining all week long, and it was just awesome, awesome. And then you get off. It was funny because every player in that plays, after the game, you would come home, you want to look on ESPN, especially if you made some plays, and you want to hear what those jokers had to say about you, and that's when Berman nicknamed me the Keg. I think I scored a touchdown. And, oh, here comes the Keg. He rumbling, bumbling stuff. And he just had me cracking up. And, I met him one year heading to the Pro Bowl. And, you see these guys sitting in their chairs and sitting down. And he comes walking up to me on the plane. I was like, oh my gosh, you're 6'7". Well, you could never tell that this guy is a big
Yeah.
guy, big personality. That's why he was always giving the lineman love because he's a big dude himself.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, the NFL, it's still cool right now. I know you have, there's so much access. You got Instagram and, YouTube and all the different platforms that we have now. So the access is crazy. But before that, you only had a few places you can watch and actually tune in. And everybody on the planet would tune in to these guys. And they had to be good. They had to be entertaining. They had to be knowledgeable. And it was an exciting time for the league. And it actually built the league, and they laid the foundation for where the league is right now.
Yeah, and then that's why we have the overseas games. They're going to play the game in Australia next year. I think the 49ers are going to be there.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
So
I'd be mad about that. I mean, I'd be pissed. I mean, that's cool, but it takes like 24 hours to get there. So those jokers are leaving on Thursday.
I know I just ordered something for my wife for her birthday from Australia, and that was high shipping. So so
The funny thing is,
yeah.
they'll probably go the day, but they'll probably go 2 days before. Typically, you want to go the day before, and I played long enough to where some coaches used to love, if you're changing time zones, you would go for 2 days so you can, your circadian rhythm and you get more sleep and all that good stuff. And then, towards the end, those guys are leaving. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. We're going to leave the night before because you're not going to be there long enough to have it affect you. So let's go get busy. But that's why I love playing on the East. I love playing on the West Coast because when you're playing on the East Coast and you're coming back west, that 4 o'clock in the morning wake up call is not cool.
Right. Yeah. And that was always a thing. Well, okay, I'll just take for example. Okay, Denver's playing 1 o'clock Eastern start. Okay, that's like 11 o'clock their time or whatever. That could affect
Yeah,
the.
you getting up early as all get out. You know what I'm saying? And when you go back when I play for the Ravens and we come to play San Diego, I get to sleep in.
Hmm.
But then they mess with your 1 o'clock time and your 4 o'clock time. If you go from Seattle to New York, guess what time you getting up?
Yeah.
It's awful. So
Yeah.
I used to love coming back to the West Coast. It was always cool playing on the West Coast.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been kind of curious about that. And again, it's just with travel schedules and everything else. And yeah, that definitely has to, kind of take its toll on the body and everything else. And again,
Oh,
to
for
play
sure, for
well,
sure.
right?
And then after the game, it doesn't matter. Rain, sleet, or snow. We supposed to leave at 7. We taking off, bro.
Yeah.
If it's a blizzard, if it's an ice storm, we de-icing and we up out of here because we got a schedule to keep.
Was there any particular game that was kind of risky that you wouldn't leave it at 7 o'clock or whatever?
Um, I played in some games that got canceled, but the main one was man, we played in a monsoon in Kansas City. I'm talking about I couldn't see across the field. I couldn't see the guys on the middle of the field from the sideline. And I was like, damn, where the ball at? What's going? And then you get on the field and it's right in front of you and it's surreal and you look over the sideline, you can't even see the play call coming in. You can't see any, couldn't see anything coming in. I mean, and I remember them showing, on NFL, on in NFL Live, those jokers would they showed the stands and it looked like a flood in the Sudan coming out of the stadium. And it was unbelievable. We actually went in and they paused the game for like an hour or so. And I'm all stiff and cold, and I'm like, man, you jokers just run the ball. Let's keep the ball in the middle. And so let's keep it close and let's get the heck up out of here.
Uh, and which game was that? Who were you with?
Well, I was playing for Seattle and we were playing against Kansas City.
Right. Okay. Okay. I think I remember. I thought I saw a post on that on because I follow the Chief stuff on social media.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a historic game. It was unbelievable. I remember the D-line coach saying, "You gotta dang it. Whoever makes the first big play in the game is gonna win. That's gonna be the only score in the game. So we gotta make sure we keep it tight. Keep it tight. Don't let them no big plays." Man, the next thing I know, the rain stopped when Kansas City was on, and the first thing they did was those jokers brought in a dry ball and they tried to go deep. And he was telling the truth. Those jokers tried to make that first big play, and then the rain came back and it's lightning, and so we had to get the heck up out of Dodge.
So you did. So if my years are correct here, you did play against Derek Thomas. Then would that be correct?
I did play against Derek Thomas. He was actually really good friends with Cortez Kennedy. So when we would fly into Kansas City, he would always come to the hotel and pick us up and
I
take
see.
us to go out to eat. And it was he and Neil Smith. And we'd always go to this Italian joint and they'd feed us and eat us. And then the next
Mm.
day, that joker would get 2, 3 sacks on us. He used to always piss me off about that. Damn, man, this joker's hanging out with us, and here he comes tearing us up
Well, I mean, he does hold the NFL record for sacks, right, against Seattle. So,
against everybody. I mean, he's got
right.
the record. I mean, that
Yeah.
joker
Yeah.
he ate up Andy Heck one game, man. It was, he had like 7 sacks in the game.
Hmm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Uh,
In Seattle, and they lost.
yes, that's right.
He missed his 8th sack.
Yeah.
Quarterback scrambled, and I think it was Joe. Was it Craig or was it? I forgot who the quarterback was. I wasn't here. I mean, I was, that was way before I got there. But
Hmm.
I remember him scrambling. He missed the sack. The guy, he slid up under him and he went and threw like an 80-yard bomb and Seattle scored and won the game.
Wild. Crazy, crazy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Was there anything about Derek Thomas that you did mention some stuff, but was there anything else that
Oh
kind of
man, he
stood
was
with you?
quick. He was just quick off the ball, man. He was so fast.
Mhm.
And I used to, compare myself to him and man, his get off it was crazy. And so, he's Dwight Freeney before Dwight Freeney even was a thought.
Right.
And DT was special. He's a Hall of Famer, and that guy, he had a lot to offer the game, and the way he played the game it was awesome to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we just passed the 26th anniversary of his passing and yeah, it's definitely hard to believe. When I was at the Chiefs game a couple years ago, there was a trivia question and it involved Derek Thomas and it's just yeah, it's just kind of one of those things you always kind of think about. It's like, gone way too soon, right? So,
Yeah, for sure. It was gone way too soon.
mhm. Um was was there anything else I haven't covered that maybe you would like to talk about as we kind of
Oh no, man, we're good,
wind it up
man. I
here?
appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. I try to cover all the bases and make sure I know what I'm talking about. And
Yeah, man. I apologize for missing you. Thank you so much for the opportunity and go Hawks.
go Hawks. Yes. Well deserved. I gotta love that team. And Mike McDonald there. Everybody was wondering what Seattle was doing. A, getting Sam Darnold, and B, hiring Mike McDonald, let's be honest,
I
and
wasn't.
the Super Bowl
I,
champs.
I wasn't. You know where he came from? Baltimore.
Baltimore. Yeah.
That's what we do. We
Yeah.
play defense.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, man. Sam Darnold has been a dog everywhere he's been.
Hmm.
You don't get rid of a quarterback who won 14 games. That's not a buster. What?
No, it's
Same
that's
thing.
the Vikings. That's what they do.
And that's why they are where they are.
Yeah.
That's why they are where they are. I mean, it's like the old Indianapolis Colts. They picking the number one pick every year because they're being ran by the Three Stooges. And now, they finally got rid of those jokers. Now look at them. They became a historic team, winning championships, Peyton Manning, so forth. Well, same thing. We have a great GM here.
Mhm.
John Snyder is a guy, and he picks. He's picked winners, and people are looking at him crazy when he got rid of Russell Wilson, and they look at him crazy, when they got rid of the coach, and look what those guys are doing after they left Seattle. And now look what he's done. He's been in the Super Bowl. They got a little bit, behind the eight ball. He reloaded the team with a new coach, with a
Mhm.
new quarterback. Defense is turned around. They believe they are hunting. They're being physical, and they are out there trying to physically, dominate their opponent. It's about the process, not the outcome. Outcomes becomes a habit once you apply yourself and you commit to the process, and they have done that here.
Yeah. Most definitely, right? And it's crazy. Somebody had said, okay, the Mariners went deep and the Seahawks went right to the Super Bowl. And I mean, to me, they're a very likable team. I mean, Kenneth Walker just comes in, just does his thing, and
Well, I mean,
wins
he's
the
special. I was
MVP.
looking at that kid. He's special. I mean, you see that pace, how patient he was on that one run?
I know. I just
I mean, goodness gracious, but that kid's been balling like that all year. I was, sad to see Zach Charbonnet get hurt. He played against my son in high school, and so I've been watching him, keeping up with his career. Same with Jackson and Jigba. He played against my kid. He's played on the team with my son in high school in the All-Star game. So I've been watching those kids, and it's funny, man. We got a lot of young talent, explosive talent. We playing through injuries, but Snyder's a dude. He picks guys, he picks great players, he picks great coaches. The culture is second to none over there. The ownership is second to none, and they're thriving and they're flourishing, in the program that they built.
well, you get rid of DJ Metcalf too, and then you bring in Cooper Kupp, which the Rams didn't want and encouraged him to retire, which I thought was a terrible mistake. I'm like, he still has it. Like LA has their, but Cooper Kupp is still Cooper Kupp.
But yeah, I mean, LA. Hey, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a team that I did not want to play against. Those Jokers are good, man.
Mhm.
They're good. They give us problems. I was you always need to win a Super Bowl. You need a little bit of luck at sometimes. The ball bounce your way, grace of God. And we did that. That last time we played LA here in Seattle, we had some things happen, and we turned the ball around, made some plays, and won the game. That's that resiliency that you know it was built by the coach in that standard, in that leadership, them competing in practice, them, constantly trying and failing. They had the ability to understand that, failing is growth. Failure is quit. We don't quit here in Seattle. We fail, we come back and we fight you harder and we punch you in the mouth. We don't lay down. We keep swinging and we keep chopping wood. And, with that attitude, they continue to get better and better and better and better and better. They went through some things, they lived through some things, they knew how to respond to that. And when it was time to go get it, they were hitting on all cylinders. You got to be hitting on all cylinders when you hit the playoffs, and you got to be playing your best football. And that's exactly what they did. And that's why you saw the separation from them and those other teams that have consistently, beaten us, late in the latter part of the seasons. Coach changed that, turned that around. The culture is a little bit different. Again, we don't rebuild, we reload. And I thought that, the choices that Snyder made with the personnel that he brought in was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very well said. I mean, I go back to that 2 point conversion play at the end of the game on December.
Unbelievable. That was a heck of a call.
Crazy, right?
That
Like,
was a heck of a call. I thought Clint got started getting a little cavalier, throwing the ball a little too much in that game. But he had the gumption to to make the calls at the right time to get us where we needed to be. And he believed in the quarterback and the offensive line and the execution, and we were able to make plays. And so it was excellent. Big time players make big time plays in big time games,
Hmm.
and I thought that they did that.
Yeah, and then I think maybe the national media didn't think that they were necessarily quote unquote a number one seed. Everybody wanted the Rams to kind of get in there.
They
And
got to win to get that.
right,
Hey, I can see a lot better than I can hear.
right. Yeah. So I mean they go down to they go down to San Fran, they win that game 13-3, and then I was like, okay, people started believing there. And then
So wait a
we
minute,
all know the
these jokers
playoff
might
game,
be all
right?
right.
The kickoff return for a touchdown, and then it was over.
Yeah, it was a done deal.
It was
Yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah. We poured it on them then. Yeah, we poured it on them down here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, you take all of that, and then that's the result you get in the Super Bowl. And as you say, if it wasn't for the one defensive back there from New England, it would have been a 44-10 game.
Yeah, we'd have blown them out.
Yeah.
We'd have blown them out. But you know what? Darnold did throw the ball behind a little bit. He could have let him a little bit more, but it's doesn't matter. He's a guy. He's a winner. He's a champion. But I like the kid I've liked the kid before he came here. I was like, man, Minnesota, they need to fire everybody in Minnesota.
Yeah, because he came there as desperation, and then it's like, hey, well, then he had the two bad starts, and they go from the one to the five, and players, and then they play the Rams in Arizona on that playoff game, and okay, well, we have to play McCarthy, or we have to play JJ McCarthy. No, you don't. You need to sit these guys down.
What's
Period.
wrong
I
with
don't
you?
care if you're from it. You need to sit them down.
What's wrong with you? You got to ride that train,
Yeah.
ride the horse that brought
Right.
you there.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a song like that, but it's good. So you're saying a repeat for the Seahawks in 2027?
We'll see. One foot in front of the other, brother.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
foot in front of the other.
for sure. Well, I hope to make it to a Super Bowl one day. I would love to do it.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
it'd be
maybe we're
exciting. It'd
yeah,
be exciting. Where's the Super Bowl at next year? Is it in what did they say it was?
it's in LA.
Yeah, ooh, it's gonna be on in LA next year.
Hmm.
Yeah,
LA and
but
then Atlanta. Yeah.
too bad the Rams won't be there. They gotta go through Seattle to get home, and we're not gonna let them.
Right. Maybe the Chargers.
No.
No.
I love the coach. I love the
Yes.
hardball. He was with me. That Joker can coach now.
Yeah.
He can coach. And then, you know what? The Chargers, they got a shot, but New England is young. They talk about the Bills, the Bills, the Bills. Bills been laying the egg every year, and I'm a Buffalo Bill myself, but they lay an egg every year. The quarterback, man, I hated that for him that he played bad like that in the play. That's the worst time to play like that. But
Hmm.
fact of the matter is, I just don't know what Buffalo's going to do. They got the new stadium. They're going to have a lot of momentum. Hopefully, they get reloaded and they come with it. But they're going to have a problem beating New England. New England is young,
Oh yeah.
young, and even though they lost, Vrabel is going to use that experience of that loss. He's a resilient guy. He's a tough guy. They're going to be better next year. I don't know what the cap looks like. I don't know, what they're looking like in free agency. It's a little early. I'm sure they've already met on it and they know what they're doing. But New England's going to be a problem for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't just a flash in the pan. You can see it, right? Because Miami and New York aren't going to do anything. It's going to be Buffalo and New England fighting it out.
Well, you got well. Let's not take away from Denver now.
No, no.
Denver,
Yeah, I'm talking the division there. Denver
Denver's the
will.
number one seed, and
Yes.
without their quarterback, and I'm gonna tell you something else. That backup quarterback for Denver, that joker came in playing now, and he hadn't
Hmm.
thrown the ball in a game in what 2 3 years,
For
and
years,
he came in playing
2023.
like that.
Yeah.
Sean can coach, man.
I think if they would have kicked the field goal there on that 4th and 1.
Yeah, for sure. He should have done that. And I was shocked at a coach like that, but you get your overinflated egos and you get in the playoffs and you want to be all again cavalier. Playoff ball, man, the best coaches take the gimmies. You
Hmm.
gamble when you have to, but that's not a gamble that you take. This is playoff ball. I'm here. I paid the kicker. Give me my 3 points. Let's change the outcome of the game.
Well, and that's what Mike McDonald did. He took the points, unlike Ben Johnson. Where are you going for him 4th and 1? Like, good grief. Like, Like go to Vegas. Like what are you doing? Like take the points. It's a 12-0 game. It gives you cushion. It's boring. I don't I love boring like that, but you win.
We won 3 games like that in Baltimore. You get us to the playoffs. I
Yeah.
mean, shoot, we lost a game, 6-9 or something to Pittsburgh. And I'm out playing the game whole game. And this offense, they can't score to say they live, and we out there the whole game. But you know what? Guess what? I'm getting paid. I'm not getting
Right.
paid for the offense to play. I'm getting paid for the defense to play. That's the thing that people are, complaining. Oh, they didn't score. And we
Right.
can go score on defense, and which we did. We can go score on a special team, which we did. There's a lot of facets of the game. Offense ain't gonna always produce. They're just
Right.
not. They're just not. But we still have to stop them because they
Hmm.
don't have to score.
Right. Yeah. I remember you guys beat Cleveland in a week 3 game, 12-0. I don't know what.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't score
Right.
against Cleveland. What?
Right.
And they were awful.
Yeah.
But we beat the brakes off of Cleveland. The brakes. I think I got a safety in that game. We beat the brakes off of Cleveland. They had like almost negative yards rushing. We had like 8, 9 sacks. And it was fun. And I couldn't even tell the offense didn't score. Couldn't even tell.
I'll have
All,
to
all
go
I know
back
is we're going
and
for
look
the
at the
shutout.
box score. Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you this. You know what the mindset was in Baltimore? All we need is 3 points. If you can't get 3, then we'll go get 2, and
Yeah.
we're gonna win no matter what. That's what our mindset was. So in that first touchdown in the Super Bowl, when we hit Stokely
Hmm.
in the end zone,
Yeah.
all we said in the game was it's over. That's a done deal. We just won the Super Bowl. When Dilfer hit Stokely, we just told him, hey, y'all ain't gotta do no more. That's all we need. It's over. We
Yeah.
we just won the Super Bowl. And that's how we went out and played.
Well,
We
then
we
the
we, we don't
Giants
play
had Giants
defense.
had the punt return, but then it quickly turned. But yeah.
They had a kickoff return, but we were still winning.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, they had a kickoff return. We returned the kick right then and there. So again, all we needed was a one score. It was over.
Yeah.
It was over. They were not scoring on offense.
Hmm.
It took special teams for them to score, but like I said, it was a done deal. We knew it was on from there. We got a pick six. We were beating and battering those jokers. Man, we had a party on their heads.
Well, and it was an inter again. It was, where we began here. It's interesting to me because the week prior they had beat the Vikings 41-0, beat them off, and you're thinking, okay, so this should be good, but defense wins championships, and that's cliche. But to your point here, all you need is 3 points.
Yeah, Minnesota wasn't us. They hadn't. I mean, what? Look at that. Who they got out there that's so explosive? I mean, they had Ron. The right guard was an all pro, and they were solid on offense and so forth. And you scored 40 points
Hmm.
on a decent team. I mean, yeah, okay, they were deep in the NFC Championship, whatever, but that wasn't us.
Yeah.
Them jokers came out there with a culture shock when they seen us flying around. Everybody's flying around, trying to knock out everything that's moving, trying to get at you. Yeah, hey, you ain't safe nowhere. If you got that ball in your hand and the Baltimore Ravens are on the field, you are not safe anywhere
Yeah.
because we are definitely coming to get you.
Yeah. I saw guys on the Giants team like the Amani Toomers and
Who is he?
Jason Sehorn, Strahan. Yeah.
Who is he? Oh no, Strahan's another dog. Now their defensive line was coming to play.
Hmm.
Strahan's from Houston. He's my guy. No, he's that. No, they're different, and we knew that we were going to have to play because they were coming. Strahan did not want to lose. They had Keith Trailer inside. Those joggers were playing.
Hmm. Good. That's good. That's awesome. I just love the insights. I love the stories, Sam. It's amazing. So good. But yeah, this has been awesome. And again, thanks so much for making the time. I do really
Thank you.
appreciate it. I'll put it on my page. I'll put it on YouTube after. Feel free to share it. And
I
hey,
appreciate it, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
hey, not a problem. And as I always tell people, we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, yeah. Looking forward to it, man. You have a
Okay.
blessed day, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for the opportunity. Go Hawks.
Go on. Good deal.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
You
All
too.
right.
Bye.
Bye bye.